the email says. This is talking about the final. So I know now we have the final this week, so it's time to start talking about it. So the final gets proctored a little bit differently than the other tests. So the way that the final gets proctored is that you're going to log into Zoom on your phone or another device like an iPad or phone or whatever. And you're going to set that on the side. You can use like a tissue box to lean it on or however you want to lean it up, so that you are proctored live on Zoom. And you'll be, of course, the lockdown browser happens when you log in and take that anyways. But you're going to be proctored live on Zoom as well for the final. So you have to log in here first with your phone or iPad or something you can set on the side, or if you have another laptop or something, whatever you want to use. And that's going to be set on the side for live proctoring while you take your test in Zoom. Okay. If you take your test without the live proctoring, then you get a 0 because this is the final. So the final gets proctored a little bit more heavily than the previous tests have. So any questions on that?
How about me?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. But this is,
it's with SAS.
Yeah, you're with SAS, so you're fine, right? You're already with getting proctored live. Yours is different. Yeah.
Always me. It's always there.
Yeah, you're already getting proctored live. Okay. So anyone else have any questions about that? Is everyone clear? Because I'd hate for someone to get a 0 and say that, oh, I didn't know, because then we're gonna say, well, we talked about it and here's the email. Any questions at all? Okay, since no one's asking any questions, I'm assuming that means that everyone knows what they are doing. There's no confusion. Okay, all right. Let's.
So, when we just log into Zoom, we log into our regular class.
Yep. And you'll just use like your phone, or if you have an iPad and you prefer to use that, you could use that. And then you'll just angle it somewhere. You'll set it somewhere with like your tissue box or something, lean it on a book, or I don't know, whatever you want to set it on, so that we can live proctor and see you working in Zoom. So that stays on.
Do you need a Zoom app on your phone to do that, or can you just do it through whatever browser I'm using on my phone?
I don't think you need a Zoom app. You might, but it's free either way. So that might be something you want to look into before the test starts. So what I would highly recommend you not do is do not come to the test on Wednesday, 20 minutes late, and then saying, oh, I have no idea how to work my phone with Zoom, freaking out. So don't do that. Try to log into Zoom early. You know, Professor Sievers has his office hours before class. So maybe try to log in like 10 minutes early in case you have a technical issue so that you're not freaking out. Maybe that would be a good plan.
You can always try to, they'll just end up in the waiting room if I'm not here, basically.
Yeah.
So also I use my phone to scan what I'm working on. So if I'm on Zoom on my phone, can I like exit that so I have time to scan, email it to myself, and then?
Yep, so that's in the email as well. So once the test is complete, then you'll log back onto Zoom on your computer, and then you'll use your phone to scan and submit. So you're basically on camera at all times.
So once I'm done with the test, I'll close the lockdown browser. I'll get back on the Zoom call on my computer, and then scan and submit it while on the Zoom call.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Because we don't want anyone to be confused or stressed about directions. No? Okay. All right. Okay, well, let's do this. So we are looking at this first problem here. Where did I have my breakout room so I can see who's in which room? So room 1, Jerry, you are up first.
Number 3, I didn't understand A, and then I did B.
What'd you do for B?
For B, when I said symbolically, am I solving for X?
We're gonna set them equal, right? Because it says f of x equals g of x, and then solve for x.
Okay, yeah, so I did 10 square root or 10 to the 0.2 x equals 2.5.
Okay,
And then I'm not sure if I did it right, but I did log 10,
okay.
log base 10, parentheses, and then I rewrote the, yeah.
Like that. Did you do log base 10 on both sides?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then it's gonna cancel out on the left side.
okay. So you just have 0.2x equals log 2.5.
Yeah. And then on the left side, divide by 0.2,
Okay,
and do it on the right side as well.
oops. 2.5 divided by 0.2.
And is that my answer? I had stopped there.
Are you fine with them leaving it like that, Professor Severs, or do you want them to change it to a fraction and simplify it more? I know some college professors prefer that and some are fine with this.
I feel like that's okay as long as it's an even decimal. That's fine.
Okay. And then we can throw it in our calculator to get a number so we could compare it to our answer for A. So what would you get if you put it in your calculator?
1.987.
You said 1.99, pretty much with round.
1.987.
So almost 2.
Yeah.
Okay, but then if we go back and look at A, that doesn't look like an answer of 2. Why is it so far off?
Oh, I
Me
got 1.096.
Oh, you got 1.096? I got 1.99 when you round. What did everyone else get? Everyone should be solving this. It looks like the answer should be 2.5 from the picture. That's why I'm wondering why it's off.
Here, this one, it confused me. It's like a jury for the question number 1. No, A.
The x value is 2 where it crosses, right?
No, it's 2.5. They intersect at 2.5 because g of x is 2.5. And that's where they intersect.
That's the y value.
Oh, but not the x. Yeah, that's right.
The x is
So
2.
for the x value is about 2. Okay.
It's almost 2.
Yeah. So it's pretty
I think
much
it's
2.
987.
So if we go back to A, then our answer does make sense, right? When are they equal to each other? They're equal to each other right here, which is 2, 2.5. That's when they're equal to each other, right? 2,
You mean the y's?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's right. 2, 2.5. Yeah. That's when the two functions are equal.
Please, here. You wanna say like f of x equals to g of x at the point 2.5 in the graph.
And they're intersect at a point. The point they intersect at is 2, 2.5 on the graph.
Okay. No, yeah. Okay. The y and x. Yeah.
So that actually does match our answer. I mean, we got 1.99, which if you round is 2. So for x, so that works. All right, any questions on that one?
My question is, when you got log 2.5 over 0.2,
Mhm.
I thought I was supposed to did okay, like I did log 2.5, but I did over log 0.2.
But there's no log on the left.
Okay.
Right here, it's just 0.2, so there's no log there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of the base change formula, I think. Yeah.
Wait, for A, our answer for A is 2, 2.5.
Yeah, that's where they intersect.
Oh,
That's where the graph is the same, right? That's where they hit each other.
It should be the x value if they ask for a solution typically.
You wouldn't write it as a point when they're asking when are the functions the same?
Usually they're looking for an x value. If you wrote the point, I wouldn't count anything off.
Yeah, I
Like-
would have naturally written the point, but yeah, I see, yeah, you could write it as just x is 2. But you should write x is 2 then, you shouldn't just write 2 if you're gonna do that. So I would either write it as a point showing that you see where they intersect, or I would write x equals 2. But I wouldn't write just 2. All right, let's keep going. So number 9, Joshua, group 1, you're next.
So I took log base 2, 128. I put that in my calculator and it gave me 7.
So how did you get to log base 2? Did you take log base 2 of both sides, or did you, how did you get that log base 2 of 128?
Because I knew that if you do 2 to the power of x plus 3, it equals 128. So
Uh-huh. And then how
I
did
don't think
you,
I do it.
how did you go from that to log base 2 of 128?
I just put it directly in because I knew that the formula log base 2, 128 would give me the exponent I needed for.
So did you just set it equal to x plus 3?
No, I just did this separately. I don't think I did this the way we're supposed to do it. I just saw that I could use the log formula to give me the exponent.
Okay, because even if you wrote that on your paper, if you just wrote log base 2 128 equals 7 and then x equals 4 on your paper on a test, I would not know what you did. So let's make sure that we can know what you did. So like, I don't know which way you want to go. Do you want to go where you're like using the formula to like set them up like this, or do you want to take log base 2 of both sides? I can erase this. Which math property or way do you want to go?
I guess log base 2 both sides.
Okay. Yeah, usually if you have a base like that with an exponent, it's good to have the base of your log match it. Okay. And then what?
You put log base 2 128 in the calculator and you get 7, so it would turn that part to 7 on the right.
Is it exactly 7 or was it a decimal?
It was exactly 7.
Okay.
So
Okay. Now, I would recommend you try solving it without getting the decimals first, just in case on your test it tells you you have to write it as an exact answer. So
Yeah.
just so you know.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
still
we have-
trying to figure out how to do these. I just kind of looked at it and saw that, but
And then what would happen on the left? The log base 2 of 2 to the x plus 3, what would happen with that?
put the x plus 3 on the side, so it'd be x plus 3 times log base 2 of 2.
Yeah, you can do that. What's log base 2 of 2?
Would be 1.
1. So that's basically gone, right? Because
Yeah.
x plus 3 times 1 is just x plus 3.
Right. And then you subtract 3 from both sides and give you x equals 4.
Okay. Did anyone do it a different way? We get 4?
I did the same way.
Same way?
Yeah, I did it the same way.
Okay.
I think it's the only method we can solve in it.
Well, you could have made the 128 have a base of 2, because I think Joshua was saying 2 to the 7th power, right? 2 to the 7th power is 128. Is that true? So you could have set them equal and made the right one 2 to the 7th power, which means the exponents would be the same. That's another way to do it. All right, well, if there's no more questions on that one, we'll move on to 13. So 13, still group 1, so that's Fidel is next for number 13.
Okay, so for this one, I divided by 2.5 for both sides,
Okay,
and then I got, yeah, 0.4.
okay, so I guess we could just rewrite it as that then. Because you started by dividing by 2.5, okay. All right, and then what?
So then I took the natural log, which is negative 1.2x equals ln, or ln. Then, yeah. And then I divided by negative 1.2 for both sides.
Well, first you reduce the left side, right? Because ln of e, it kind of quote unquote cancels, right?
Right.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can divide by the negative 1.2. And then did you get a decimal when you plugged it in, some sort of answer?
That's how I left it.
Okay. It doesn't really specify in the directions, so I would just know how to do both, just in case either is asked on the test. So if the directions tell you just to give an exact answer, then we would be done. If the directions told us to do decimals, then we would get 0.76. Just depends on what the directions ask.
Okay.
76. You find
0.76.
0.708.
0.760357 is what I got.
Did you did the natural one over 2.5?
The natural log of 0.4 divided by a negative 1.2.
Yes, it's what I did, but I don't know
Oh.
because I have like sometimes the trouble to find the keys. Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, any questions on 13? And when we came in, there was people that said they got stuck on ones. So if you have questions, make sure you ask. All right, so next in that group is Vanessa for number 31.
I wasn't sure if I did this one right.
All right, well, let's see what you did.
So I started with the x minus 3. And I wasn't sure if you're supposed to subtract that from both sides first.
Is it adding the e? Is it adding to the e?
Should be multiplying to the e, right?
It's not multiplying, it's an exponent. So we can't really subtract as the opposite of exponent, right? Like when we think about moving things over, it's always the opposite. So if you subtract, then that means it must have been adding, but it's not adding. Or if you divide, that means it must have been multiplying, but it's not multiplying. Right, so let's say it was like e times x minus 3. Then you could divide both sides by x minus 3, right? Because that would be multiplying. But in this problem, it's not multiplying and it's not adding, it's not subtracting. So those ideas won't work. Is there any other ideas we could try? Does anyone have a suggestion just for the first step to help Vanessa get started?
Yes, I think we write both sides is the same, and just the right side as 2 power of 3 of x is going to be 8 of the power of x, and we upload the natural INN to the both sides.
Okay, so that's the first step, right? Our first step is taking the natural log.
Yeah, can I?
You can. You don't have to do the 8. You can do the 8. That's fine too. But the first
Okay,
step could just be making it ln. So okay, let's see if Vanessa can go from there. So that gives her a starting spot. So Vanessa, the suggestion was to take the ln of both sides.
So then would it be the ln of the e to the power of x minus 3.
Uh-huh. So the reason the ln might be handy is because we have an e base. Or you could have done log base 2 also because there's a 2 base on the right. So either one. Okay, then what would we do?
Sometimes you cancel the e out by doing the x minus 3.
Yeah, you could bring the x minus 3 down. Okay. Now what could we do?
Would you divide both sides by the x minus 3?
You could. Let's see if that helps us. Because we can always try something and see if it helps. Does that help us get x alone?
No.
Yeah, not really. Now it's like more like we have a mess on the right. So that strategy didn't really work on that problem. What else could we do? There's gotta be something else we could do. Anyone have a suggestion of what next step we could do?
Can we add 3?
Do the x to the third. What about, or 3x? What about it?
No, I said, can we add 3 to both sides?
You could. Is that gets one of the x's alone, but what about the other side? What about that x? Now that x is kind of stuck still, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that. We need a way to get that 3 to the x out, right? It's stuck.
Yeah.
How do we get it out? We learned in this unit how to get it out.
Put it back of the x minus 3 times in of e equals to x in of 8. The in of e is 1, and then it's going to be x minus 3 equals to x in of 8, and then we put everything on the side, which is going to be x equals x in of 8 plus 3, and then
So it sounds like you used a property. Did you,
Yes.
what property did you use to bring the x out of the exponent? How did you do that?
What's your question, please?
You didn't have the x in the exponent anymore, right?
Yes, I don't.
Okay, so how did you do that? Because that's
I
the
put
step
it
that
back.
they're
I don't know
supposed-
what's the name for the property, but
Oh,
I just put it down, and then I put all the x's in the side.
okay, wait, so you pulled the 3x down. Does anyone recognize that? Have we done anything like that? Is that legal? Are we allowed to pull the 3x down?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
now
one of
yeah.
wasn't that one of the exponent rules we learned when we did the logs? You can bring the exponents down to the front.
Yeah.
Right, like let's say we have log of 3 squared, that could be 2 log of 3, right? You can bring the exponent down to the front. Oh, I hope you're studying these things. You have your test in 2 days. Make sure you know all the properties. Okay, so what do you think now, Vanessa? Now that we have that 3x down, what could we do?
Do you still have to get was it the x you have to get by itself on the right side?
Yeah, or the left, one of them, so we can solve for it, right? We're trying to solve for x, so we need to put them together. Right now, they're separated.
Excuse me, teacher, can I stop you once?
So did you divide by it?
We can't divide by x because we don't know if x is 0. Because remember, if you divide by 0, it would get undefined. How else could we move the x to the other side? Anyone have any ideas of moving the x to the other side?
Yeah, to move over all the x's in one side. But I have a question, please, teacher, before we go in far.
Okay.
Please. I want to just talk about the right side, okay? Because in the beginning we have 2 power of 3 of x, right?
Yep.
And then I wrote this one as 8 power of x, right?
ln of 8 to the power of x.
Yes, because I'm not starting with in because I'm just putting this down.
Okay.
Like 2 2 power of 3 times like just a
Yeah.
separate them or something like that. And then I went to do in the natural e of x minus 3 equals to in of 3 of x. So far, is it correct? It's correct.
You said it should be 8 to the x.
Yes, 8 to the x.
Yeah.
Okay, in this case, okay, I'm gonna just, yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Vanessa.
Okay, so somebody in the class, let's help anybody. How do I move it over to the other side? I'm only gonna go as fast as y'all go today. This is what I've been trying to do. So if y'all are stuck and need time to think, we'll think.
You wanted me to help you?
Good, we'll move forward. I don't want to go too fast if people are struggling today. So Ganya, you said you moved it over. How did you move it over?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
could-
in this case, I will move it over as it's going to be, what is that? Give me 1 sec. Okay, what is it? This one is going to be 1, x minus 3 equals to x in of 8. I want to move all the x's in the one side. It's going to be x in of 8, no, x minus x in equals to 3. Then I
How
will
did you move it? You said you moved it all to one side. How? Because that's what the class is stuck on right now. How did you move
You
it?
put all the terms in once, like we have x and x.
But how did you
X and
move it to
Y's.
the left? What operation did you do? Did you multiply to move it to the left? Did you divide?
Subtract.
You subtracted. Okay, subtracted.
Subtracted,
Okay,
yeah.
does everyone see that? That we can subtract it on both sides? You're
Oh, sorry,
subtracting
teacher.
on both sides.
The word, I don't have the good
It's
vocabulary.
okay. I'm just trying to make sure the class understands it. I don't want to just do it real fast and then them not know what we did. So I subtracted it to both sides, right? That's how you move it over. So then this side's gone. You just have 3, and then the other side has the minus.
And it's going to be x times 1, x like GCF. X times 1 minus I of 8 equals to 3.
Okay.
X equals to 3 over 1 minus in of 8.
Yeah. So how do we get the x alone here? I know Ganya just said it, if anyone was listening to how she did it. How do we get the x alone now? We got the x on one side, that's good. Now what? I know Vanessa's doing this problem, but if anyone can help out. The x's are on one side, that's good. Now what? Jade, any ideas? Fidel, any ideas? Jerry, any ideas?
Would you combine them?
So how we can't really quite subtract them because that ln2 is kind of messing it up, right? If it was x minus 3x, we get negative 2x and we could subtract them. But since that ln2 is there, we can't combine them like that. It's a good idea, just won't work for this problem. How do we get the x alone? You remember factoring?
You divide.
So dividing is something we talked about earlier with Vanessa suggested it. It's a good idea, except we don't know if x is 0. So we can't divide if we're not sure if x is 0. All right, let's look at this. How do I factor that? This that I just made up.
You could take out an x, right?
You can factor out an x, a GCF, right?
Yes.
Okay, now look at our problem. What can we do on our problem?
We could take out an x.
Yeah, we can factor out an x, same thing. Now you get x divided by x, we factored out the x, so that'll just be a 1, right? Minus 3 ln2 equals 3. We factored out an x, GCF. Like back, what was that, like 3 units ago when we learned factoring?
2-3 units.
Okay. All right, now what do we do, Vanessa? We're almost there. Last step. Almost have x alone.
Multiply it.
X is multiplying the parentheses,
that's right.
right? So how would I get rid of the parentheses?
Divide it.
Divide it, yep. I'm out of space, so I'm gonna write it up here. That it'd be x equals 3 divided by that whole chunk. Like that. Or you don't need the parentheses anymore, but I just left them. And that would be our exact answer, or you could put it in the calculator if the problem asked for a decimal answer. So in the calculator, we would get 1 minus 3 ln 2. So in the calculator, I got x equals negative 2.78. But if the question asked for an exact answer or a symbolic answer, we would just leave it like that.
Can you say again the decimal, please?
Negative 2.78.
Okay.
Okay, so we did a lot of fancy things on this problem. So please ask me if there are questions. Look through it, look through each step, make sure you understand. I'm giving everyone like 30 seconds to look through it and let me know if there's anything you don't understand.
How did you put that in the calculator?
I just typed it directly in. So I did 3 and then I hit the division and then I opened a parenthesis and then 1 minus 3 ln 2 closed a parenthesis. I just typed it directly in.
The 1 minus 3 ln and then the parentheses is supposed to be 2.
Yeah, you'll need to close 2 parentheses since the ln automatically opened one as well.
Oh, okay, because now I see it. Because at first I'm like, I'm still getting a different answer, but I see that I'm supposed to close the parentheses.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Jerry, Fernanda, Leslie, Carson, Kathleen, any questions?
I do have a question. It's not like specifically about 31, but when we were doing number 9, he got number 7 by plugging in log base 2 128. How would I put that into my calculator? I tried doing it, but it kept giving me like an error. Like
You could do log base or log change of base. You could do that.
on my calculator, it doesn't let me change the base.
But you could do the change of base formula. Because I remember, I think you talked to Professor Sievers and I about that when we were working on your calculator.
Is it log base 10 divided by log base 2, or is it log base 2 divided by log base 2?
I'm trying to remember what the problem was exactly. It was log base 2 of 128, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to use base change formula, whoops, you can do log 128 over log 2. And that'll let you find the 7.
Okay, yeah, I finally got the 7.
Okay, good.
That was the only part I was confused. Everything else I didn't understand.
All right, Fernanda, Carson, Kathleen, I still haven't heard from y'all.
Yeah, I understand that. The only thing I was confused about was the factoring part. I just kind of got like stuck on that step.
Okay. Do you understand it now though?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Kathleen, Fernanda?
I also got stuck on the factoring part, but I understand it more now.
Okay. Fernanda?
Would you write it as a 3 over 1 minus 2, 1 minus 3 and 2, or x equals minus 2?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Are you talking about how you write the answer?
Yes.
How I have it is fine. Did you want to write it a different way?
No, I was just wondering if that's how you write it. Like is it not minus 2.78?
Oh, it depends on the directions.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying. These directions don't tell us specifically how they want us to do it. If the directions say give an exact answer or a symbolic answer, then you leave it like that. If the directions want a decimal answer, then you would put it in the calculator.
Okay.
So always check your directions.
I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say like every time we have a problem like this, but when we have a problem like with E, to something, will we have to do factor? Because I feel like that's the part that like I was getting confused on. Like like
The factoring had nothing to do with the fact that there was an E. The factoring had to do with the fact that we had an X on both sides, and the only way to move it over was like, the only way to get them together was when we subtracted it over, we couldn't combine them. Remember, I forget who was suggesting, someone was suggesting we combine them, but we couldn't combine them because the ln2 was there. So we had to factor the X out. That was the only way to get the X kind of like simplified.
okay, gotcha. Cause yeah, cause that's what I was looking. I was like I understand like factoring, you know how to break stuff down, but I'm like, why is we doing it here? You know? So
Yeah.
okay, but it's because we had X on both sides.
Well, and then we brought it over, but then when we had it together on the same side, we could not combine them, remember?
Oh, yes.
If we had X minus 3X, we could just simplify it and make it negative 2X, and then we could just solve from there. But because that ln2 was attached to the X, we were stuck. So the only thing we could do to get the X simplified was to make it a GCF and take it out.
Okay.
All right, so there's no more questions. We'll go back to groups and work on some more problems. So we're at, let's see, 53, 63, and 67. All right, we'll go back to groups. A little left. Keep dwindling down the last days. Hey, I don't want people to miss stuff. All right, 53. So we are at, which group are we at? We are at room 2, so that's Carson. For 53.
Okay, I didn't really understand what to do on this one all too well, but I mean, you can help me. So I wasn't even really sure where to start out, like in the problem, because typically the way we see it is like it's log blank plus log blank minus log blank. So I was kind of looking for something like that.
Well, you could do one of the, so we talked about log base, like this is a way to write it, or you could also write it as b to the y equals x, like that's interchangeable. That's 2 ways to rewrite it. Or if you get confused by that, we could bring both sides to 2 to the x. I mean, we could raise both sides to the power of 2.
The first one works fine. Yeah, that makes sense.
The first one? Okay. So then how would we rewrite this? So we always start with our base. So what's our base?
2.
Okay. And then we're going to write the y, which means the thing on the other side of the equal sign, as our exponent. Because right now we're on this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that y becomes our exponent, see?
Mm-hmm. So that would be 4.
Uh-huh. So I like to think of it as like a circle, like 2 to the 4th, and then equals the inside. It's like a going around thing.
Okay.
That's how I like to think about it. We're going around. All right, what would we do next?
So from there, I guess you could do 2 to the 4th, which would be.
Is it 16?
I think so, yes.
2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Okay, and then?
You could subtract the 2.
It's already
subtracting. Yeah, add it. I mean, sorry.
All right.
And then you would just divide 3, and that would be 6.
Cool. Is that what other students got?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go to 63 then. Are there any questions on this one before we go to 63?
There's a different, there's another way to do this, right?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, okay, cool. Because I did it different, but I got the same answer.
Okay. How did you do it?
Well, I didn't do what you did on the right side, so if you look at 53, like if you look at it like the way they give it to you, I did 2, and then I did the little power thing on both sides, so that'll cancel the 2, like the log base 2,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
then it'll
that's,
just square.
yeah, that was the other option I was saying we could do. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, 63. We are at Kathleen. Next for 63.
I got 53, but I was stuck on 63.
Okay, anyone know where to start on 63?
I think I know where to start, but I kind of got halfway through and that's where I had got stuck at.
Okay, well, what'd you do first?
Okay, first I looked at log x plus log 2x. It
Mhm.
was a addition.
Mhm.
I multiplied like what's after log. So like I did log parentheses x times 2x equals 2.
Mhm.
And then I combined, so then I ended up getting log parentheses 2x squared.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good first step.
And then the next part I'm not 100% sure, but would I raise it by 10, like log 10, for I could cancel out the log or something like that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So that would leave me with 2x squared equals, wouldn't that be 2 log?
10 squared.
10. Oh yeah. See, okay. So would I do 2x squared equals 100?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. See?
And then divide by 2.
Oh yeah, divide by 2 because you want to get x by itself.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves me with x squared equals 50.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would divide by x again.
You can't divide by x. We don't know if x is 0.
Where-
You square root.
Yeah, would you square root it? Okay.
Thank you.
You would do plus or minus, but in this case, we can only have the positive because the log can only be of a positive number. So we'll just do the positive because of that. And if you reduce the radical, it'd be 5 rad 2.
Oh, okay. So is it okay if we put that in decimal form or put it in the radical? Like,
Depends on the directions. So if the directions say use exact answers or symbolic answers, then you have to leave it like that. Or if the directions say decimal answers, then you would put in your calculator.
okay.
All right, cool. All right, in our last couple minutes here, just verifying that everyone heard the announcement about how the finals will be proctored. Did everyone hear that?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Carson, did you hear the announcement about it?
Yes.
Okay, Kayla, did you hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Kathleen, did you hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Vanessa, did you hear it?
Yes.
And Leslie, did you hear it? Because I can't see your faces, so I can't see the nod. So that's why I'm
But-
asking.
That's on Thursday, right?
It is Wednesday and Thursday. We have 2-part finals. So both Wednesday and Thursday, you have to log into Zoom first on your phone. I would recommend you get to class a little early in case you have technical issues. Make sure you have your charger for your laptop. Make sure you have your charger for your phone. There's no retakes at this point. So there's no like, if you mess up, here's what you can do to make it up. No, this is it. So you gotta have your chargers, go to the bathroom first, have your paper, batteries in your calculator, all that good stuff.
For what we learned last week and what we're learning this week, that's gonna be on Wednesday. That's what we're gonna be tested on.
Wednesday is on just this unit, and then Thursday is the whole semester.
Okay.
Yeah, so tomorrow's the review. So what I'm hoping y'all do is go look at those reviews. I'm hoping you're not just like waiting till tomorrow to do the review. I hope you look at those reviews. I hope you look through all the stuff that we learned this last week. I hope you look through everything prior to that, because there's basically 2 different reviews. There's one for the test Wednesday, and then there's one for the cumulative on Thursday. And so we're getting down to the wire. So like, I'm hoping y'all take a little initiative in yourselves and like go look at this stuff. I don't know what you know or don't know, but like tomorrow is pretty much going to be y'all's day to ask whatever you have issues with, whatever you have questions on. Tomorrow is going to be the day to ask.
After the 9th, do we show up on the 13th? Because I know it says that the 13th is the last day. Like for the whole, for
No,
everyone.
it just means that that's when all classes must be over by, is the 13th.
Okay.
Wow.
I think it's over. I think it says the 12th, actually. I'm pretty sure the calendar says 12th, not 13th. Like the
So this is
ACC calendar.
Sunday.
Yeah, but that's why they say everything's done by the 12th. It should be the ACC calendar.
Okay.
And then they should say something like winter break starts on the 13th.
Yeah, I think that's because there's like some classes, weird classes that run on the weekend sometimes.
Yeah, there
So
are.
I guess if you have a Sunday class, the last day would be like the 12th, but our last day is the 9th.
Okay.
All right. So I know we don't have time to do this whole problem, so I started it for you and then I wrote factor to keep going. So you would factor it and keep going. All right. So tomorrow we'll see you for the review. Make sure you're getting ready for your test and you understand the expectations for proctoring it. Study, study, study. As always, we're here to support you. If you have questions, come ask us. All right.
Is there office hours today?
Yeah, if you have some questions.
I just want to do 67.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, I'll see y'all tomorrow. If you want to stay and talk about 67, we can keep going on 67.